Welcome back to the show. Now recently the SCA under-14 boys had a real treat. They got to meet, hang out with and get some tips from former South African batting great and ex-India coach Gary Kirsten. He was in town speaking on behalf of Nomura.
Gary Kirsten was in Singapore on the 14th of June as a part of the 8th Nomura Asia Equity Forum at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. The South African spent the day speaking on global cricket issues like the promotion of 2020 cricket and the inclusion of associate nations at the World Cup. He also spent some time talking about his tenure with the Indian national team during the World Cup. After that, he spent some time training and coaching with the SCA under-14s, going through various cricket techniques, especially focusing on batting, which would be his forte. Kirsten, in his usual style, let the young cricketers take the spotlight while he stood and watched in the background. It was clearly a special moment for the under-14s, who were just happy to be able to hang out with one of their heroes.
Simmer, tell us what it was like meeting Gary Kirsten.
It was a really great experience. It was really enriching, and I'm lucky to meet such a high-profile player at such a young age, and I've learned a lot.
Tell us what are some of the advice that he gave to you.
He told us to work on our basic technique and also to play hard and practice in the nets, because if you don't get your techniques right in the nets, you won't get it in the game. So work hard in the nets.
And how did you think he performed as a coach for India overall? And secondly, do you wish he could have stayed on as coach?
Yeah, I was really happy with India's performance, and I think it was due to Gary Kirsten's hard work. So I think he did a really good job there. And yeah, I wish he would stay on, but he has his own reasons, so can't push that. Yeah.
I'm here with World Cup winning coach for India, Gary Kirsten. Gary, great to have you on the show with us. Just a couple of quick questions. Singapore being an associate nation, they aspire to get to the World Cup. What advice would you give to an associate nation?
I think, in terms of long-term strategies, it's always a tough one. But I think it's important that the associate nations try and continue to get better and better at their cricket, and that's really about the individuals that are playing the game, that they're given the best chance to achieve success at a high level. I suppose to play against the strongest opposition that you can play against, and whatever you can do in the capacity that you are involved in, that you're trying to be the leaders within that setup. So I was excited. I was watching a couple of the under-14s here, and I was looking at a couple of the techniques. It looked pretty good, actually, and there's definite interest and excitement in the game here. It's a global game, as we know, and I think the most important thing is they maintain that excitement, and hopefully it'll lead to better things later on.
What do you think of the ICC's proposed plans to possibly lessen the number of associate nations in future World Cups?
My opinion is that the World Cup is an iconic event, and the World Cup is about the global game that it is, and about spreading the game as far as you can. So I think it's been great that a team like Ireland have performed like they have in the World Cup, and I would certainly like to think that the cricket bodies would aspire to creating more islands out there and to setting that up. So I'm not a decision maker at the highest level of the game, but certainly I would encourage teams like Ireland and the teams that have played in the World Cups to be the example to the other associate nations about what can be achieved.
You mentioned in your talk earlier about trying to get more black South Africans involved in the game, and in Singapore we have a similar issue with not too many local kids getting involved. How would you advise Singapore, just like South Africa, what can they do to try and get more locals involved in the game?
I think it's important that the people that are leading the game in this part of the world are doing the type of job that does expose everyone to cricket as much as possible. I think the balancing act that we always have is that you want to strive towards excellence, but you also want to spread the game as much as you can to find the unhidden talent that is around. So once you can get that balancing act right while you're performing really well as a nation, but at the same time you're giving opportunity to as many as you can, then you're going to achieve the levels of success. But I think it's important to have the right people running that ship for you with a real passion and love and energy for the game.
And finally, just sum up very briefly your time with India and how it's been for you.
It will be one of the most cherished 3 years of my life. It was an amazing time. I sort of went in there a little bit unknown as as a South African from a coaching perspective, and to have had that experience in India and the goodwill of the Indian people has been amazing. I mean, I've almost viewed it as my second home now, to be honest with you, but it's something that I'll always cherish.
Well, many thanks to Nomura Bank and Gary Kirsten for making this happen. It's great to have him on this show. Well, coming up, we've got indoor cricket and the art of spin bowling.